Hey everybody, welcome to SwJ. Today we're picking up where we left off last time with my blanket project. Got a panel done in lengthways yesterday, and now we're going to stitch it up widthways. So, let's get into it. Our Good World News today is going to have a health focus, and read an article with a lot of good news compiled into it. So I will be doing a little bit of a point form, good news in point form today. So first of all, we'll talk about cancer, and getting rid of cancer, to be more specific. And I didn't get a lot of details off of this one, but for people who have late stage head and neck cancer, there is a treatment that has slowed the progress and even cured some cases. So they're hoping that when they implement that into earlier stage trials, then it can be more successful. So if you have head and neck cancer or know anyone who does, there may be hope for you on the horizon. And I got my first note of good news in before I got my first stitch in. It's gonna be a good news day. Cheers. Oh, to get one bit of bad news out of the way, I've had a COVID exposure, and I might be getting sick in the next few days. So if all of a sudden I miss a day, or two or three, don't be too surprised. Wish me luck. Wish me the best. Prayers and kind thoughts are always appreciated. Don't know. Haven't tested for it yet. Haven't really been symptomatic yet. But exposure was recent, so keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Also, along the lines of cancer, they have a new prostate cancer treatment where they reprogram RNA rather than reducing testosterone levels, which is the current treatment for it, because prostate cancer tends to bind with testosterone, and rather than having cancer binding with the testosterone, they're finding a way to block that bond rather than lower testosterone, which has very bad side effects for men. So that's good news. Seems like these days reprogramming cells is the big way to do medical advancements. No longer just attacking the resultant of the cell mutation or the after effects. They're attacking the sources and changing things on a cellular level. Which is pretty impressive. Moving along to diabetes, rather the getting rid of diabetes. And what they're doing, the doctors, they are introducing healthy stem cells directly into the pancreas. And what this does is it bypasses the genetic mutation that leads to diabetes. And this is, we're talking about type 1 diabetes here. Type 1? Or was it type 2? I think it was type 1. So that's pretty massive if we can cure diabetes, and until that happens, they have a new way of testing your blood sugar levels, which is much less invasive than finger pricks. Cheers. And they're saying that this is going to be in effect as of 2023, so pretty soon. And basically what it is it's a little cellulose strip, or I don't know if it's cellulose, they call it a saliva strip. That's been developed and is waiting for production. And what it does is basically you lick the strip and you connect it to your tester or cell phone or whatever device that they make it compatible with, and it produces a voltage corresponding to the amount of blood sugar or saliva sugar in your saliva. So the challenge there was isolating the sugars because there's such a small amount of sugar in the saliva. So isolating it so that the strips only picked up the sugar and not everything else is pretty massive. So yeah, if you have diabetes and you're forever taking blood samples to check your sugar levels, well, here's hope. I don't have to do it, but I know and knew a lot of people who do/did, and it seems to be a major pain in the butt. Now these strips, the technology is also being looked at to explore other ways of bypassing blood tests. You can detect many different issues with these strips in the saliva just by different things that the strips are made of and that sort of thing. So if we can use these sensors rather than doing blood tests, be a huge ease of pressure on the medical system, which is pretty overrun right now. Seem to have lost my red thread. Oh jeez, right in front of me. Right in front of my nose. Cheers. Yeah, for diabetes, on a personal note, I have very extensive family history of diabetes. So if they're developing procedures for curing it and the testing is a lot easier, that takes a fair bit off my mind, and I'm sure most people know someone that has diabetes and knows how it affects their lives. So that's massively positive world news. Alright, then we'll start in the middle and work our way back. Corner is always the interesting part. Now, more good world news in the on the topic of health, and in this case, osteoarthritis. And a lot of people who have osteoarthritis have, well, by definition, I guess, joint pain, joint issues, that sort of thing. And one of the causes of that is that the cartilage in those joints gets hard and stiff and brittle over time, or tears or breaks or anything like that. And one interesting thing that they've discovered, the good doctors, cheers. One thing that they have discovered is that the cartilage in your nose doesn't stiffen in the same way as cartilage in your joints and bones, or between your joints and bones. So what they've been doing is they've been taking cartilage samples from the septum, which is the cartilage between the nasal passages. They'll take cartilage from that area, and they will grow it into cartilage large enough to be used. In this case, thus far, it's been in the knees. And they experimented on some people who had extremely bad osteoarthritis in the joints, to the point of needing replacement surgery. And the doctors, they regrew some of their septum cartilage into, or grew some of their septum cartilage into a piece large enough to do their knees. And they both reported improvement in their condition. One whom they were able to do x-rays on afterwards actually noticed that there was more space between his joints, which is the big indication of recovery. other interesting thing that they've noted about these transplants is that normally there is a lot of inflammation associated with these surgeries, and using the septum cartilage, the amount of inflammation has actually been reduced by quite a lot. Not exactly sure how or why there's less inflammation. Maybe just with the increase in cartilage flexibility and mobility and softness. Maybe it's just not fighting the joint as much. And when the body is trying to defend itself, it creates inflammation, which is not always the best side effect, and sometimes it's a fatal side effect depending on what the body's trying to cure of itself. Make sure that I don't sew into any other parts of the blanket here as I go along. Let's try to get this corner nice and tight. With the blanket stitch, you have to keep going back in and snugging it up as you go along, or else it does loosen up a bit. Then what I do is I go and I fold it along the other seam. Try to go close to where I had my last stitch, right into the other side. And then what I've been doing is leaving the ends of everything just pinned so that I have a little bit of maneuverability room and fudge room there if something goes wrong. So now that I mentioned COVID, I'm going to offer some good news about COVID. I try not to talk about that at all on this channel, but because I may have it, I mentioned it to you, and because I mentioned it to you, I want there to be something positive about it. And if you are someone who has an acceptance of CBD, the other active ingredient in marijuana, then this is going to be very good news for you, because apparently CBD slows down the advancement of COVID in the lungs. So if you do have COVID and you do have access to CBD medication, take it. It could well save you a lot of effects from the illness. So, full disclosure here, I have a legal permit to grow marijuana because I have a prescription for a few illnesses that I have. So I have some CBD marijuana, and I will be consuming that while I go through my illness if I am sick, and I will let you know how that goes. Like I say, I might be off for a day or two here the next little while, just depending on how the illness goes. I've been trying to upload Monday to Friday, so I'll have, who knows? We'll see how things go. So yeah, CBD keeps becoming known as a wonder drug for a lot of different things, and I hope that the stigma attached to it is being shaken away, because there are so many good things about it. Like, if I didn't intake regularly, who knows what kind of physical condition I'd be in. It helps tone down my chronic back pain. I think it helps with my anxiety. And if it can help keep COVID from damaging my lungs, great. Try to slip over more to vaping than actual smoking. Vaping and concentrates, oils, rather than smoking so much of the plant matter. Alright, I'm excited to see how this turned out. Tie a couple knots, cut the thread, pull the pins, Big moment. After a sip of coffee, all excited here. Get all excited, my voice crawls up into my throat. Nice. Nice. That turned out a lot tighter than. There's one I had that kind of went awry here. Oh yeah, here I was trying to go from one length to another, so that always gets a little tricky. But, that's okay. We'll figure that out. And yeah, this is going well. Very happy with progress on this so far. I can keep growing it out this way and out this way. I've got a flat end here, so I think I'll carry on with that as I go up. And just make it bigger. That way. Well, thanks so much for joining me. Really do appreciate the time we get to spend together. And yeah, till next time. Keep looking out for me. Yeah, some prayers would be appreciated. Maybe while you're chilling, throw something up for me. Yeah, keep chilling. Don't forget your cookie. Peace.